day. Just about to start this next game. Let's see, Maxi versus Amy. Okay. Good to go. Just hit that chat message up. Now back on the UFScotland page. Since Scott's game finished, Scott versus Emma game finished. All Goro, if you obviously weren't watching, got the win. And now we're going into Alan playing against Murray. So we have Maxi versus Amy. So I'm just going to bring that up a teeny bit. Should be awesome. So Murray getting to go first. So let's see what happens. Right, so obviously we get Amy, Maxi. This will be interesting stuff. Both SoCal characters. So Murray going in for an Edge of Death into a hacker extraordinaire. See what he's got to go for. So obviously the thing with Amy, as he plays passing the torch, Amy's thing is obviously if you've got 2 or more characters in the staging area, you may change the zone of your attack to any other zone. If you've got 4 or more characters in your staging area, you may change the zone of this attack to any other zone. And the twice per turn's gain of vitality. Your next attack gets minus X difficulty and plus X damage. X equals the number of characters in your staging area. So obviously the idea is you're trying to get 4 Amy's out to be able to interact well with the opponent's stuff. And obviously interact more with your own stuff as well. So here we go, let's see what happens. So Alan starts off with a Burning with Revenge, goes into every time I forget this one, Radical Edward, my bad, goes in for a Feifei and then ending with a Reborn Human. And I think he's going to pass there, unless he's got some mental stuff to do. So the mental stuff to do, let's see, does commit to obviously pass that check. So that's fine and dandy. Right, awesome stuff, awesome stuff. So Murray drawing back up to hand size. Obviously this is a 7 hand size character versus a 6 hand size. 7 life between and a difference. So let's see what happens. This will be interesting to see what Murray's doing with Amy. I'll be actually interested to see what attacks he's playing. Symbol wise, I believe, let's see what he's obviously. I think he's just going to be playing Amy stuff, really. I think, if I'm right, yeah, he's going off of order. So let's see how this goes. Let's see what it does. So obviously Rogue Signet is the first one. It's got gauge 1. It's a 2 mid 2. It's got a form in card pool. Play this attack. Flip this attack after it resolves. And that's playable if you've got 2 or more characters in the staging area. So at this point, this is the kind of really rough thing that like Alan might want to interact with this well. Obviously he gets the extra damage for having 1 character in the staging area. And it's the fact that it's that gauge 1. This is the thing really interesting. This kind of forces you kind of to full block something like this. And actually just force a block in general. That's the kind of idea of this card. But if Alan wants to take the damage, it's kind of like one of those ones that, yeah, he's going to take 3 damage at this point, and Murray's going to be able to gauge. But here comes the block. Coming in with a reduction. 1 mid. Gets an easy block on it. It's going to hit him with Breaker 2. Now, that being said, he might have a reversal. If he has a reversal, this would be pretty awesome, as it's going to get +2, +2. So let's see what happens. Does he have a reversal? Don't think this thing's safe either. So like, yeah, it's just gauge 1 in range. So no reversal, as I think Murray's lining up for the next card to be played, which is another Rogue Signet. So that's actually mental. That's a really decent opening string of attacks, obviously, because you can get that gauge 1 popping off pretty well, forcing some really silly blocks essentially in that kind of format. It's most of the time it's not going to do a lot of damage. He does make the check, because at the end of the day it's what needed a 5, does check a 4. Yeah, okay, let's see what happens. So Alan is playing a Let's Cut Loose, and he's going to have to commit for it. Yeah, that's pretty easy to go for, like, because what am I watching here? It's Amy versus Maxi, Scott. Amy versus Maxi. Maxi's played obviously by Alan. So interesting It's actually been pretty cool. Like, you've only missed like the first opening hands basically. Not missed much.
First Rogue Signet was blocked with a reduction, hits with the Breaker 2, that's what made him commit fully out on the second Rogue Signet. And now going in for another block. Pretty easy to block though at the end of the day. What's that on a 4? 5? Yeah. So here we go. Obviously this thing here, after you block with this card, Ready Foundation, it's not been ready. Pretty awesome. So it's not really done too much to phase him, but it has stopped those 2 easy gauge triggers from going off, which has been pretty much essential at this point. That would have nearly been a fully operational Amy as of like a turn 2 play. That would have been pretty good going. So here we go, just plays out the rest. Doesn't like that one, obviously has nothing to commit, so that fails. Gets a pass in the torch and gets a Mortal Resurrection. Yeah, I got that one right. So it's pretty solid stuff. So here we go, Maxi drawing back up to hand size, up to 7. So let's just fire up Maxi. Obviously he's got a once per turn. If you get 2 or more foundations to your card pool, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. And twice per turn, add 1 foundation to your card pool, ready 1 other foundation. It's not been ready this combat phase. Your attack gets +1 speed and +3 damage. I got my ass kicked by a Maxi player at Worlds that was doing pretty much this. So I'm actually waiting to see if you get a decent attack string with Maxi, like you can just pop off some extra damage. So let's see what I'm not too sure yet what Alan's playing attack wise, so it'll be quite interesting. Obviously he's got reductions to add things like that to pull and all that sort of stuff, so let's see what he does. 27 health for Amy, so definitely killable on the pure early swing potentially if Maxi gets the right cards. Right, here we go, what's he starting with? So they're actually going over, obviously. Here we go. So going for a Reborn Human. It's not going to count towards progressive for attacks being played, but everything else it will. Goes in for Scarlet Meteor. So here we go. This will be quite cool to see how this goes off. So obviously 5 high for 5. The things that you can do right now, let's see. You can, once per turn, you can add a foundation to the card pool to ready something else up if you really wanted to. But I mean, you could always just add Reborn Human or even a Burn of Revenge and then just build it again. So there's like a billion options that aren't really going to phase him. So obviously adds it up. Gets +1 speed, +3 damage. So now it's a 6 high for 8 damage. So, right, Murray's just passing. So now at this point he obviously then gets to pop the once per turn just to get top card goes to momentum. So he's now got momentum outlet for the powerful 4. Goes for a Radical Edward, which is pretty good going. Hits Mortal Resurrection. This is pretty aggressive stuff. This is a pure heavy aggressive Maxi. Putting in the pressure. At this point, pretty much Scarlet has the option to like blow up, build. At this point, like it's going to be quite cool to see what he does. Obviously, he's done the once per turn. So realistically now he can definitely build the Burn of Revenge for the extra 2 damage. He might keep it. Builds it. He's probably going to pop that. Obviously it comes down face down. So he gets an extra 2 damage off of that. So this now is up at 10 damage. He's going to pop it. Probably build that True Identity. Yeah, pretty easy build. Pretty easy choice. Yeah, Scott, this is like pretty much what hit me at Worlds. Like I'm already living flashbacks. And this is like Maxi turn 2. Like this is literally like brutal how aggressive this just pops off on damage. So obviously he's got that True Identity. So he's going to down now do the powerful 4. So now instantly that, I mean this is now 14 damage, racked up pretty aggressively fast. Simply on now a 6 high, 14. I mean that's a tough one to block when you've only got 2 things ready basically, and he is taking the 14 damage. Takes a scalping hit. Probably going to True Identity if he has extra attacks ready to go. More than likely, get that kind of plus to the check, but let's see if he does. Nope, he is just probably going to build now. So you get a TK Mastery, Shadow Inheritance. Yeah, literally this is like just... I'm trying to remember who I played again at Worlds. I think I played Josh Gardner. I think that's who it was that was playing Maxi. And the dude just had it to a T. Like, Maxi is a pure aggressive beast of a character if you're not ready for it. But let's see what Murray can do in response. So down to like the Maxi still at 20 health, Murray down to 13. Just be interested to see what can happen now. Definitely depends what kind of cards he draws into. Let's see what he gets. At this point he might want to try and build a few extra things maybe. Let's find out. And especially those shadow inheritances are mental in Maxi. Absolutely mental. So many foundations in that card pool. So goes for a Refusing to Let Go, goes in for a Daughter of the Bladed Rod, goes in for a Conduct of United Essence, and then a Feifei of his own. And then builds. That's him build them. Builds 4, keeps 2 in hand. So couple of outs. He's got obviously an option to draw from Passing the Torch. Daughter of the Bladed Rod, what's that one again? Oh yeah, reveal the top 3. Yeah. Point discards one, you put them back in order. Yeah, so he's got a bit of stack. He's got a Refusing just to kind of cancel an attack, which is like the ultimate card to like deal with this Maxi right now. If he doesn't see enough of the kind of attack runs. Let's see what happens. Yeah, this will be an aggressive one. Down at 13 life for Murray in this point, which is pretty rough. At this point, another attack similar to that Scarlet Meteor would just end the game. But at this point, Murray does have an extra few foundations, has a bit of speed mitigation, stuff like that from the Feifei. So there's a couple of options now. So he goes with the form for the True Identity. So for those that don't know, True Identity, when they do the form, your checks to play attacks get +1 for the rest of the turn. So, starts with a Reborn Human, and he's all good there. It's not going to count towards progressive for attacks, everything else it will. So let's see what's the next one going to be. So there's a Burning with Revenge. Passes it out. Probably going in for an attack now. Yep, here we go. So a Kimbo on a 4-5. On a 5, but it gets obviously the +1 from the True, so he gets a 4 technically, checks it to make it 5. Awesome stuff. Now a Kimbo. This attack is +X damage. X equals the printed control of the first card in the card pool. Awesome. And on a 5 check, draw 1 card for each foundation in your card pool. So, as well as that, so he is going for the twice per turn. So he adds a Reborn Human up. Because at the end of the day, that's not going to count towards progressive for the attacks. So it's awesome stuff. So here we go. Right, let's see what he does next. So he's obviously got the option to do like the Maxi top enhance. He's got the enhances off of like Akimbo itself. I mean, at this point now, like that Akimbo on a 5 check's going to be able to draw 3 cards. So he does check a 5. And he will draw 3. That is so cool. I like seeing that. That is a pretty decent way of doing that. So at the same time as well, gets the draw. So here we go. Now he does it where he then adds the top card to Momentum. Obviously this thing itself has an EX1 if he really wanted to do it. But ultimately he's going to get the extra... So there, can print control, yep, so he's going to get the extra 5, obviously the Reborn. So Amy then does the enhance twice per turn enhance, gains a vitality. So awesome stuff. Because it's something. Because at the end of the day, this attack itself is currently, what's that, 11 damage. 4 high. So I mean, it's edging on lethal. I mean, this is two attacks that have pretty much took a chunk out of Murray's life total. That's rough stuff. Let's see what he does. Let's see. So I think if he could get the damage elsewhere, I don't think he can really get the damage anywhere higher. But like, obviously he's looking at the idea of the response on Shadow Inheritance. That's the whole point of it, which is just brutal. Just locks out. So Murray is resetting its damage to printed and -2 in it. So easy goings there. So that was the kind of out. That was definitely the kind of card Alan had to have baited out earlier if he really has anything else in hand. Obviously it's going to do 1 damage potentially. If they, more than likely he's not going to get it blocked. But even then, you might want to block it, potentially reverse. Even then, that might be risky, depending on what else Alan has in hand. This is just tough goings. The interesting thing Alan could do, obviously, with Burn, is your attack is +2 damage. You may add this card to the stage in your face down committee. It says you may, so like, could have done that. So obviously Alan gets the 1 damage through, goes for a second akimbo. So here we go, second akimbo. So the other thing, like, obviously I think it's just the twice per turn he can do. He's going to add the reborn human up. Gets +1 speed, +3 damage. If he checks a 5 off of the akimbo in hands, he's going to be able to draw 4. That's so rough. Now, this attack can definitely get to that magical 13. So let's see what he does. So, does check a 6. He's going to draw 4 here. Aye, look at that. That is just pure hand dominance so early in the game. So as I say, at the same time as well, obviously he's going to give it the extra damage, which is going to give it an extra 5 damage. That's going to put it to the lethal. That's going to put it to 13. Then it really comes down to what Murray has in options. In fact, is that lethal yet? Sorry, maybe not lethal yet. What's that? 5, 6, 7, that's 2 off, sorry. But he's got the option. He's got the option with Burning. That's what it is. So he's got the options there. Let's see. And Amy gains a life with a twice per turn. So he is bringing it down, giving it the 2 damage. So it's 1 off of lethal. So Edge of Death. If your opponent's at desperation, commit one. Not that one. Sorry, it's the remove. And if the attack's damage is 8 or greater, reduce its damage to 2. So good couple of outs. I actually forgot that's what Edge of Death. That was the second bit of Edge of Death. So even he had that. The first time it was committed. Yep. So he does take the 2 damage. But at this point, look at that hand capacity that has been held by Alan right now. Like, I don't think people are able to hold that many cards in real life anymore. I think we'll need to train for these kind of decks, guys. Let's see what he does. Oh, the other bit of Edge of Death. It's your attack. If your opponent's in desperation, you come out of foundation. It's not even useful. I don't even know what I would use it for. It was just the first bit. It was the first bit I could remember. I remember cards top down. Right, here comes a Nutcracker on a 4, 5, 6 with +1 to the check. So checks a 5, true identity makes it a 6. Pretty sure. So, adds a card to the pool to draw a card. because as if he didn't need to draw any more cards. Obviously that card added up as a Burning with Revenge. So there is a Demon Realm Awakening going for a -5 damage. So this might stall him out a bit. Obviously he gets a draw for the Demon Realm. So this will be interesting. So Alan's got the option for 4 damage off of Nutcracker. No, he doesn't even have the 4 damage off Nutcracker aim. He's a Geralt. He's got the 2 damage off of Burning. Yeah, he's not got a lot of damage off for this one. That's probably going to do bugger all. So yeah, that's pretty tough going. You got the draw though, so I mean at the end of the day I'm trying to think, let's see. It's really just a matter of how far into the pool can he really now go. I mean he's taken up the board, so he's doing pretty well. Definitely has a good couple of cards to commit. This is interesting. I mean he's basically holding his deck. Let's see what he does. This is so cool. This is so cool seeing Maxi again. So obviously it deals no damage. He's going in for a power flip. Now this power flip's on a 5, 6, 7, 8. Checks essentially a 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean he could do it. And he does, because he is going to build big time. He's going to build 3 reborn humans and Burning basically. If he does it smartly he should get the 2 damage off of Burning first. But he's just building everything. Just in case, probably just in case Murray has some randomness to hit him with. So, power flip, add all foundation of your card pool to your staging area. Pretty awesome stuff. So he does it, obviously gets the super build of 4 foundations there. Essentially clears his pool out pretty drastically. More conduit. Let's see. Alright, okay. Right. Here, he can keep attacking with 4 to tap. Yeah, true. Yep. Yeah, you can. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you need to get on commentary, Scott, for sure. Right, let's see what else. I'm trying to think what else he's going to be playing now, because I mean this is pretty aggressive stuff. Obviously, he hits the power flip, deals the damage. My PC goes off at 10, unfortunately. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we'll have to do these earlier then. So he gets the build, plays a power cycle as well, guys, and then passes in. Now let's see what he puts into momentum. I'm assuming like everything but Nutcracker dealt damage. So has he just got? I would just throw everything practically momentum. So it's that 3 in momentum. Right, let's see what happens. So at this point, at the end of the day, Maxi is still the old glass hammer, glass cage bullet bullshit that we all love. That 20 health is still not a lot. I mean, we've not really seen a lot of the attacks Amy is running right now, but 20 health is not a lot to jump through. So it's still anyone's game at the end of the day. But what's he holding? What 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think he's holding like 8 cards as well. So pretty awesome. I mean that's cool seeing. That's what I love about this game as well. See when you see those kind of plays, they just look so damn cool. It's like such an awesome thing to see. When you start having to like pure spread out across the board with cards and be like, yep, this is a card pool. I mean we have definitely seen our fair share of people playing absolutely crazy ass plays. Pretty sure every one of them has been off of all as well. I think we're figuring this out. Oh, here we go. So going in with a Scarlet Meteor. Now the grand scheme of things, I for the life of me don't know what is in Murray's deck, so I would not know what he would pop to pick up from that discard pile. So I'll be interested to find out what he would do, for instance, if he does it. But let's see what happens. Let's see. Because at this point, Scarlet Meteor, I mean, he's not got any assets to jump through. Can obviously destroy to add an asset or a foundation from the discard pile at staging area. It just really depends what he's got in that discard and what's worth potentially popping. So he resets it to printed and gives it +2. Because obviously he could just pop it and bring it back. They're really interested to see what's happening. I wish I could see what else was in his discard pile. So here we go. So the bit there that Maxi is doing is obviously the twice per turn add a foundation to the card pool. Ready one of your foundations not been readied. And it's your attack gets it, so it's fine. That just kind of fizzles. Now, at the end of the day, that's also a really cool card to get out and put it into the card pool. Simply down to the fact that you respond from card pool after an attack deals damage, you gain a vitality. So you kind of pseudo mitigate a damage really, as long as you survive the hit. So awesome stuff. You can do that twice. He has reborn humans to add up. The only downside to obviously if he does that is that he pretty much, unless he gets some, unless he's got another power flip for instance, he potentially loses them as well. So here we go. Let's see what happens. So obviously Refusing to Let Go was popped, and he actually brings out a Ridden the World of Outsiders. Now this is one of my favourite cards. Just recently playing it in Grow. So he commits and it's getting +2 speed, +2 damage to the next attack, with the option then to flip it to give this attack +1 speed, +1 damage, but you can obviously leave that for the next attack. So there's a bunch of options. So he is hitting the TK Mastery on it to start with. He checks 2 3s, because obviously that's +2 speed, +2 damage. Let's see what happens. And then obviously, let's see what else he can do. So the bit on Amy is the gaining the vitality, and it's going to get -1 and +1 damage. So awesome stuff when he plays it. Obviously the real thing he wants to do is hit out with these mental gauges. He really needs to stack them. Obviously this is where Amy gets a bit tougher to deal with when you get those 4 out basically, and getting that extra difficulty reduced and then extra damage. Right now though, there is a lot of floating damage on that next attack, and this attack is nothing to chew away at either. At the end of the day, this attack's still 6 high 8, so puts him down to 12. He could have another 11, yeah, he could put him down to like 12 and hit another, which could potentially even instantly goes to 11 if he had the second one, for instance. So Alan, I think, he's going to take the 8 and then he gains 1. So he takes 7 overall. So here we go. Yep, look at that. See, I mean, I'm just too good at calling this, guys. It goes in for the second Scarlet Meteor. Now, at this point now, it's a wee bit of a tougher pill to bite through. I think he's got to, let's see, could definitely, card sent to the Shadow Realm. Don't know where the hell that went. Oh, there it is. I must have fell off the table. So he's got the next one. Now, the next one's obviously now 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage right now. Let's see. So all the TK masteries, this is when they then trigger on this bit. And he does a wee bit of -speed on checking that 6. Playing a Fallen Masters. Very underutilised card. Not a lot of times it sees play. I definitely try to throw it in a few of my decks, but I don't proceed to see any of my decks are any good.
So let's see what happens. So more TK masteries. I should have switched that off. Let's just turn that off. So we don't hear any pings. Let's see what else can happen. Yeah, she's going to flip. Or ready it. Ah, so he's going to pop it. Ready it. Awesome. Awesome. So he's going to be able to commit it. Again. This is quite cool to see what happens here. Because 13 life, I mean, it's still what, 3 high, 8 damage. Try to see what else he's got in play he can do. I don't know if he's done the Daughter of the Bladed Rod yet. I don't know if he needs to yet though. That's the only thing. Sometimes it's not even a necessary thing to do. And if he has, I've totally missed it. But that's my bad. But I don't think he has because the refusing is still on top. Let's see what happens. There's a couple of options. Again, Alan could do the same again, take the hit and gain a life. So he is committing the Ridding the World of Outsiders for +2/+2 to the next attack. Now the crazy player that could be a third Scarlet Meteor would be really funny to see. So here we go, going in for the Amy, gains a life. And the next attack's getting... So this is the twice per turn done basically, and he's going to get an extra damage. Because he's still not been able to stack them yet. But again, this is like turn 3 kind of material, so like this is rough going when you can't stack fast enough to how aggressive Maxi can be. So goes in for the block with a power cycle. And commits for it, yeah. Awesome stuff. Readies up a Shadow Inheritance. Nice. And then obviously took a wee bit of damage. Gained a Vitality. So he took 4, gains 1. I can't wait to see what this next attack is. You know it's an attack, you know, some... It'd be so funny if it's another Scarlet Meteor. Like, honest to God, it would be so funny. So let's see what he does. Oh, it's a Forbidden Moon set. Damn. So on a 5, 6, 7, -1 to the diff. So on a 6. So I think he maybe is doing some super duper math. I mean, he's got the Shadow Inheritance still there, so I mean, there's every chance this is still terrifyingly blockable. So let's see what's happening. So I think what he's doing right now, guys, is hitting off the TK responses. So TK Mastery does have one. Let's see what he hits. Probably hits the damage, or does he hit the speed? Hits the speed, so he takes the speed away from it. And then hit, oh nice. So I think they're just doing a wee bit of clear up. So here we go, now this is where this gets interesting. So Forbidden Moon set obviously can lose save, gain powerful 5, but there's not really a point in that. But he can add 1 foundation from the hand, which he adds straight away. He adds that beautiful, beautiful Shadow Inheritance and gets right rid of that. Maxi does his twice per turn, adds a foundation up, so he adds the second Reborn Human. Now we're going to have like multiple triggers of this when he takes damage, as long as he can survive the hit. So here we go. Obviously this is now 9 damage, still not lethal yet. Has the drop for a momentum now to make it lethal. Goes for Daughter of the Bladed Rod. So here we go, guys. So basically Daughter of the Bladed Rod's once per turn. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Your opponent discards one of them and you put the rest back in order. So there is a 3 check, there is a 6 check, and there is a 5 check. And he gets right rid of that attack. Simply down to the fact that
passing the torch is obviously a draw mechanic, so if he didn't get rid of that, he was going to get probably an attack picked up. So here we go. So he goes in, flips a Feifei and gives it -3 of his speed. So let's see what else happens. So at this point now, like, this is the thing now. Now it's obviously just a 0 high, 9 damage. He's going to hit it with the powerful 5. So here we go. Hits it with the powerful 5. At this point, really does actually still force a block out of this as such. I wonder what he's going to do. This will be interesting. Still has 2 cards left in hand. Alan has a deck worth. I think he's still at what, 6? What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no, 8 maybe. Aye, still at 8 cards in hand. So here comes the bit of the TK mastery. So he flips, obviously Murray flips for the +1/+1. 2 triggers of TK go off. And he does on the sense make it a 6. And he's going to hit it for damage. There we go. Because now at this point the damage... so it's now 1 high for 11, 12, 13. I don't know if he changed it to mid at all at any point, so we'll have to find out, depending on whether or not he takes some partial damage, but we will find that out shortly. I don't even think he can do that yet, can he? I think he has to have stacked 2, so I mean, he hasn't even changed his own, that's mental. So he is taking 5, 6, 6, 11, 12, 13, takes 7, gains 2. Nice. That is pretty awesome, being Maxi and being able to add a lot of them up. So what's this one? Raptor Rush. Bit of Raphael, 2-dot. Charge reversal weapon. If this attack's not blocked, change the zone of the next attack to any other zone and reduce the speed of your opponent's next attack to 0. That's obviously for the reversal part. And then the response after you block with this card, you may attempt to play it as a reversal. Ah, right, it's this one. Yeah, cool. So 4 high, 6. Pretty awesome stuff. Currently is lethal. Wonder. Now it really just comes down to what Alan has as a block at this point. Because with 4 in the pool. Here we go. Yep. Don't have the block for it. That is pretty rough. I mean, there you go. I mean, for all the crazy plays we've seen of Maxi in turn 1 and 2, glass hammer material, I mean, if you can just weather that storm, take on the hit, you can definitely pull it back. That's pretty rough going. As I say, Maxi had like a pure hand and a half for a lot of that. That was obviously just game 1. So here we go, we'll see what's going to happen now. So we're getting into game 2, they're going to be doing the setup. Yeah, really what happened there was Murray as Amy managed to weather the storm on that initial onslaught of attacks. Stayed in the game and was able just to kind of return the swing back. And Maxi at 20 health, I mean at the end of the day 20 health is not a lot to jump through when you get that crazy Scarlet Meteor, Forbidden Moonset kind of playoff. Like, yeah, that's taking Goro down. That is rough going. So here we go. So I think we'll find out who's going to start first, if Alan is going to go first. Once they'll draw up. I'm going to assume Maxi is going to go first. Here comes my expertise. Aye, there we go. Yeah, because he has to go first. Maxi has to go first, get that pure baller play of foundations down, and then absolutely swing for the hills. Hell, he could already swing for the hills if he gets a bunch of Sense of Morals out. Burn Revenge. Now here we go. Is he going for an attack? Oh, he could still be going for an attack. So much of this is just like so in. Ah, nah, he's not going for an attack. Damn, oh, we're so close, guys. We're so close to seeing like a pure crazy play. goes for the power cycle, then goes in for the profane sanctuary and builds there. Yeah, those first 3 cards, when you see them, you're still expecting an attack, even turn 1. Right, here we go. So, Murray discards a Rose Mystique on the review step to draw 1. So here we go. Here comes the Edge of Death, which when me in the chat remember, like, has an awesome second response. Or enhance, I should say, to like just pure mitigate damage. So it gets a Dot of the Bladed Rod, gets Gwen's Foundation We Are All Comrades, gets always forget this one, Voice of Reason, and then another Voice of Reason. So an equally decent build. Definitely rocking a decent build. Leaves himself with 1 card in hand. Alan draws back to 7, and it really comes down to what Alan gets out of this. I mean, Alan could hit hard pretty aggressively, kind of force that Edge of Death to be popped, obviously because it's enhanced remove, so he could definitely bait it out early. Let's see what he does. So it really comes down, it just comes down to what kind of attacks Alan's got in hand at this point as well. Let's see how aggressive he can be. Right, here we go. Rocking into the 41st minute of this game. No direct time limits associated with these games. This is as much as it's we play a bit competitive. These are still casuals in our eyes. So going in for a Nutcracker to start with, just as I talk about casuals. So here we go, Nutcracker to start, guys. So at the end of the day, this one, he's going to be able to add a foundation from discard pile to the card pool, draw a card. He's going to be able to Maxi to add a card up. So bunch of options, obviously, to be able to like pop off and get that extra momentum started early. Let's see what he adds up. I mean, more than likely you add up maybe the burning, I would have thought, maybe. Oh, he has actually got other stuff to do first. So, does check that. Yeah. Alright, awesome. Yeah. So he actually just builds the true identity. Decent build. So, like, we definitely expect that to be getting committed in a second after this attack resolves. So, let's see what else he's got to do at this point. I wonder. Because Nutcracker's a bit of a moot card at this point, as such, simply down to the fact it doesn't get that extra 4 damage because Amy is a chick. So let's see what happens. Yeah, he's not got a lot of options to like use. I mean, the twice per turn could be used to add something up, +1, +3. But even then, it's not even... It's one of those kind of weird attacks where it might do decent chip damage if he went for it. And he might potentially... I mean, it's not really going to threaten Edge of Death getting used at this point. Because, I mean, it's that 4 damage, brings it up. If he brings up, say, like Burning, he could put it to 7. He could Burning, give it an extra 2 damage, bring it back down. Options, but then that... Is that going to really be the thing that baits out Edge of Darkness, or Edge of Death, I should say? I wonder. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. So I think he is just taking the 4. Yeah, not much you can do on that one. That's a tough. As brutal as Nutcracker can be in these scenarios where you're fighting against a female character, can definitely hit a wall. And yeah, I don't think that card was going to threaten Edge of Death having to pop anytime soon. So let's see. So goes in for a Fei, goes in for a Fallen Master. And builds there. So at the end of the day, chip damage gets him down to 23, gets him to that kind of point, gets a bit of early momentum. So it really just comes down to what Murray plays and responds, but he's definitely holding enough cards still in general just to be able to deal with anything, probably. And yeah, has a good number of defensive pieces for sure.
let's see what's going to happen. So obviously now the super math comes out at this point. This is the wait 5 minutes. I'm going to see if I can do 20. So here we go. He is just hard playing an Amy. Checks a 5. He's going to commit something for it. Yeah, commits a daughter of the bladed rod. Yep, because not a grand amount of use out of that. But here comes the obvious stacking of Amy's now. Now it is going to start to come online. And yep, gets the, what's that card called? I always forget that one. Aswell's Little Doll. That's the one. So he gets Aswell's Little Doll and obviously stacks an Amy. So now we're at a point where he can start messing about with his own attacks, but he really still needs to get to that magical 4 stack to be able to start interacting with not only his own attacks but Alan's attacks as well. So here we go. Let's see what he comes in for. Let's see. So here we go. Let's see what Alan can do. Now he's not triggering off True Identity straight away. I think so. This will be quite interesting to see what he's doing. Obviously, the True Identity itself is just a form, so like he can do it whenever he needs to. Obviously, before the attack as such. But let's see what he does. Because he might not even have like a decent attack run. This is where this is where people really like start to search, see what he's played, what he's still to check. Is he going to hit any bad checks? Let's see what he comes up with. Let's see what this hand's like. Right, here we go. Hitting in with a Fallen Master. No. Aye. So, he forms with True Identity first, yeah. Kind of thought that was going to happen at some point. Then he hits a Fallen Master, thinking about a Profane Sanctuary. It's a decent high block to keep as well. Here we go. So he is going in for that Profane. Yeah. Is it? Oh. See, this is one of those plays where you can tell he's doing the super math, figuring out whether or not 23 damage is going to just come out. You can see this happening. The cogs are clicking over, they're ticking. So goes in for a reduction first. So obviously, guys, reduction. Well, this card's in your card pool. Your other attacks get +2 speed, +2 damage. Your opponent's considered to be at desperation. And if it's not blocked, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. So let's see. So it does check a 3. Which would what's that? 3, 4, checks the 3, yeah. So he goes for Maxi, adds up Sense of Morals. And then he gets +1 +3, readies up a foundation, readies up that True Identity. So as you can see, so now he's going to be able to True Identity for a second time on the form following this attack. Goes for this, another enhance off a Maxi, because he's got 2 foundations up there, gets to put the top card to momentum. So here we go. So this is now silly. I love this card to bits. So reduction, obviously if it's not blocked, he's doing that bit there as well. It's a 1 mid 1, right, which is now 2 mid for 4. Really kind of forcing through that idea that, listen, this little bit of chip damage might cause you a lot of issues if you don't block it. It's one of those really aggravating cards, really forces you into either or scenario kind of it's pretty. So he is taking the 4 and he is going to generate another momentum. So yeah, he's thrown that. That Let's Cut Loose, guys, was the one he played earlier on and it got removed. Alan just threw it to the side, so we know what it's there for. So he goes for form on True Identity again. Now this time he goes in for the Akimbo on a 4, 5, 6 with +2.
to a 4. And he checks a 5, so he's rocking that. This akimbo is going to be a pretty decent extra that adds a card up. This time he adds up a reborn human. He's going to give this beast of a card 6 damage as well. And there's a bunch of... So, he gets, just so everyone knows, he got +1, +3 off of the Maxi. He's also getting the +2, +2 off of reduction being in pool, just so we all know what's happening. Amy then gains a life. So then this bit here, he checks a 5, which is boom, checks a 5, gets to draw 3 cards. As I say, still has that awesome super duper +6 damage. X equals the printed control of the first card, which is a 6. So this card alone, where he decides to pop that, which he is, for the 6 damage, I think. Doing that now. Six, 11, 12, 13, 14 damage. I mean, it's nothing to scoff at anymore. Like, this is brutal. How absolutely aggressive this is going to get. And obviously it's a 3 high, so it's now, what, 6 high? So on an 8, checks a 3. That's a lot of cards. He can commit for it. Has to commit 5. But yeah, he definitely has to do it. Has to do it. So he leaves himself with the Edge of Death being the 1 card sitting ready to go. But he does super duper block all that damage, which he definitely had to. Obviously that's a couple of outs. He knew he had that block. He was kind of probably hoping for a 5 more than anything there, but has to do it. There comes the second akimbo. So on a 4, 5, 6, 7, checks a 3, gets 4, 5 technically to it. Needs to commit 2 for it now. So yeah, look at that. That is so cool. So again, on a 5 check, he's still going to be able to draw 3. He's naturally going to get +2, +2, which he'll do in a second. He will catch on. It's just because of that little bit of... So he checks a 5, he's going to draw 3, which is awesome stuff. At this point, I now no longer can count his hand. Has the option for 6 damage. This will be interesting stuff. So here comes the 6 damage. Edge of Death is going to reduce it to 2. Yeah, it's tough going, but that's the kind of thing you have to bait out, and he takes the 2 damage. Yeah, you had to bait that out at some point. Here comes a power flip on a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with +2, so checks a 5, 6, 7, needs to commit 2 for it, and he is good. That's rough going. So power flip is going to allow him to essentially build those 3. So let's see what's going to happen. So +2, +2, and that was for reduction. Let's see. So he builds those 3 that were in the pool. Does clear up the pool a little bit. Now this thing itself is still nothing bad. It's still 5 high 5, now 7 high 7. Let's see what else he can really do at this point. He can't do a lot, but he has built all the pieces to be able to then withstand an onslaught the next turn kind of material. So it's decent enough start. Let's see what he can do with this. And even then, 7 damage putting Murray down to 11 is still pretty helpful to the game plan. Still going to get him there. Just see what else he did. So, yep, Murray is taking the hit. Murray takes the hit. So I'm now really interested to see what's going to happen here. Because I would suspect Alan has another awesome card ready to come out in attack mode. But the real question is, does he have enough to pass the checks? I mean, he should. It's just if he kicks it. What's that? It's going to be like +4. Well, it's really +2 overall, isn't it, when we think about it, with the true identities kicking about. Being the fact that he's done it twice. So here we go. Let's see what's going to happen here. Playing a Shadow Inheritance. Again, this card's awesome. I love this card so much, but it confuses the life at me because I'm just stupid at reading it. And then, yeah, checks bad. Has to let it fail. Because it's not super essential to the game plan, especially depending on what's in that hand. That's the real clutch to the whole thing. If there's not a lot going on with that hand, then he might not actually be playing out a lot of blocks as foundations and stuff like that. Or just other cards in general that aren't attacks. So let's see what's about to happen. So again, 20 health. 20 health is still you can get hit still. So it really comes down to what's going to happen here. As well as Little Doll, for anybody that's looking at it as well, is obviously it's got discard momentum after your opponent plays a non-character ability. A responsibility cancels effect, and a 5 check after your opponent adds a foundation to the stage area during the combat phase. Commit that card. That's awesome. That is such a decent card against this Maxi deck. So Storm of Torment, everybody. Charge, Desperation 4, Gauge 4, safe. Discard momentum, search your deck for 1 character card, same as the name with the starting character, add it to your hand or staging area. If there's at least 2 character cards in your staging area, discard this or discard pile, discard this attack after it is all. So it's a 5 mid for 5 that is going to discard itself because he already is stacked up with 2, but at the same time as well he's going to be able to find that 3rd. So here we go. So Alan is playing out a Let's Cut Loose. Which about. So he's adding a Shadow Inheritance to hand. And then draws a card. Here we go. Let's see what's going to happen here. So Mirror gains a life. Obviously he's going to give it +2 damage to the next thing and -2 difficulty to the next attack he plays. He could obviously change the difficulty, or not the difficulty, he could change the zone, for instance. Where he might make it high, might keep it mid, he's probably not going to make it low. That being said, he might already have made it low, which is why maybe Alan picked up the Shadow Inheritance. So here we go. Here we go, let's see what's going to happen. So he has Daughter of the Blade and Rodded now. So let's see how this is going to go. So he flips, so there's a Amy, there's a Resurrected Evil, and there's a Flambert. So he goes for the Resurrected Evil, gets rid of that, and now he's going to stack. So he stacks the 5 on the second, top him with the 6. So we can suspect some mental stuff getting played next, where even with the +2 he just maybe wants that check, and maybe he's playing something maybe like a 6 check, 5, 6, I maybe just needs it out. That being said, actually, obviously he'll want to check that sooner than later as well. So just because it's Amy, doesn't want to be shuffling as much. Here we go guys, here we go. So here we go, so the bit we're looking for guys, here we go. So yeah, so I think he's maybe doing the Gauge 4, or if there's 2 characters in the staging area, discard pile, discard it after it resolves. There we go. let's see what happens. This is super intense now because this is what happens, guys. This is what happens when we play here in Scotland. You hit against Murray, you think you're going well, and then you really have to stop and then calculate every number possible because he's gave himself 5 minutes to see if he can do 20. So, Fei. So he adds a card up. He's allowed to, then he readies up Fei, flips Fei, -3 speed. Obviously, Sense Morals isn't going to actually get in the road. So a decent play there from Alan. Decent play. That is pretty awesome stuff to see. Obviously, just allows him to do a bunch of triggerings. Goes in for the block. And I think... yeah, so he either made it high or low, and he took partial damage, and it's still then obviously it resolves. Discards itself. Now we've got to see what else he comes in for. Now he's just going to hard play an Amy. And obviously and then checks an Amy. Look at that. That's why he kept that 6 there. Hacker Extraordinaire knows he's going to check it. Yep, with the 5. I see what he did there. I see what he did. That was pretty awesome stuff. So he probably never even used the Gauge guys on that one because Gauge would have just messed it up because obviously he wouldn't have... he'd have basically found that and he only had the other one in hand. That's pretty cool. So now he's at 3 Amy's. 1 in discard pile now. So here we go. So he's nearly at that fully operational Death Star material as we hit just into the hour mark. So here we go. He forms with True Identity. Starts with a Sense of Morals. Here we go. So we know there's going to be attacks. We know the attacks are coming. So here we go. So this is where the super math comes into play. He's going for a Nutcracker. I mean, this just allows him to set up a little bit, do some stuff. So let's see what he's going to do at this point. Let's see. Because obviously he can add a card up, readying up. So if he adds a card up, he could ready up True Identity, depending on how aggressive this attack run could be, for instance. So here we go. I'm now super intrigued to see how this is going to go. Obviously looking at all the different cards, everything that's about to potentially interact. Again, Murray could still obviously hit off with some bit of life gain. So he's going to add a card up to the pool with Nutcracker, allowing him to draw a card. So he adds a foundation to the card pool in any order, then draws a card. So he goes for a Burning with Revenge. That's, yeah, pretty awesome stuff. Here we go. Gets the draw. So Murray's going to gain a life. Alan gets 2 damage. Yep, gets 2 damage and builds the Burning with Revenge. So yeah, there's a bunch of options. I mean, this attack itself can actually start to go a bit mental. Obviously, well, there's a Demon Realm Awakening for -5 damage. Because obviously it's -1 damage for each of the keywords, and Nutcracker is one of those absolute Demon Realm joyful cards to hit, which is 5 keywords on it, so brutal stuff. Brutal stuff. So yeah, brings it down to 1 damage. Goes for a Let's Cut Loose on a 3/4, does check a 5, he's all rocking and rolling. Adds a Burning with Revenge to hand, draws a card, then that's going to get removed. So he adds, with Maxi, he adds Reborn Human up and goes for +1, +3 readies up a foundation that's not been ready this combat phase, which is True Identity. So here we go. So this is where the aggressiveness of this goes. This is where it's going to all happen. Right, let's see what else happens. Let's see. Let's see. So it's at 4, 5, 6, 7 low for 6. Takes the hit, goes down to 7. Oh, here we go, guys. I think this is where it's going to start. Edging out. Coming in with another nutcracker. Potentially. Comes in with a Burning Revenge first. On a 2, 3, 4, 5. Does check it. Now comes in with a nutcracker on a 4, 5, 6, 7. With +2 to the check. So if he gets a 5, 6, 7. Boom. Yep. Exactly what we're looking for. Exactly what we're looking for. He's going to be able to... Oh man, he's going to be able to do a lot of... I mean, he could definitely do this damage. It's got EX3. This potentially... So he adds a Sense of Morals up. Draws a card. This could potentially be what locks him out. So he gets +2/+2 from the reduction. That's the static that pops. So here we go. His Voice of Reason, for anyone watching, is once per turn, both players discard 1 card and then draw 1. So that's literally just kind of signalling to us right now that Murray is looking for a low check. So here we go. So Alan then uses Maxi to add up the Burning Revenge, readies up something. So he readies up the face down, which is fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I wonder what he's maybe got a plan. He's maybe accepting this might be the only attack ready to go. Maybe just to finish it off. So he now builds that, gives it +2. Still has the option to do it with the other Burning Revenge. Here comes nice -5 damage from Demon Realm. But he then does it with the second one for the +2. So here we go. So it is still lethal. Guys. But less lethal than what it was about to be. So here we go. Since the next Voice of Reason, he has 2. So let's see. As I say, he's definitely searching for answers at this point. At either a low block or hell, even another Demon Realm Awakening. Nah, I think that is it. Because he's going to just pop all that EX3. And yeah, there's no block. He obviously didn't find the answer in time. So, game 2 goes to Maxi. So, big takeaways while they're setting up for game 3. Really what happened there was just... Maxi just was able to continually swing, and as much as Murray was able to get the gauge, not even the gauge really, just the stacking of Amy's, it was very hard check them out material. So in the grand scheme of things, wasn't maybe super beneficial. Not being able to see those kind of attacks straight off the bat and deal with it. So here we go. So he is going to start first. Again, 27 to 20 health. If he gets to start first, there's a high chance he maybe sees that extra wee build turn before all hell breaks loose, and maybe actually sees the attacks early. Again, things like Rogue Signet and stuff, he didn't see that early to stack them and force Alan to play cards as blocks and stuff like that. So there was a couple of wee things that he didn't have. So let's see what he goes for now. So let's see, is he going to keep this hand? Are they both keeping their hands? Yep, he's going to keep it on. Now this card here, guys, this is from Noob Sabot. Resurrected Evil, I love this card to bits. He goes in for another day without training, and we are comrades. But we're going to, like, once he gets this Flambert out, we're going to read a little bit of Resurrected Evil, guys, because this card is absolutely awesome. So, Resurrected Evil. Oh, I've pushed the space button again. My bad, guys. My bad. Every time. So, Resurrected Evil, guys. Let's just change that up a bit. Commit after your opponent's ready step. Commit one card in the staging area with print difficulty X or less. X equals the number of characters in your staging area. And the other response flip is after your opponent's ready step, your opponent discards one card. So Alan gets a quick build of a Burn of Revenge, Reborn Human, and Profane Sanctuary. So here we go. The other card that's the new one is We Are Comrades, which is destroy, response destroy. After your opponent plays a non-character ability that causes one or more cards to leave your discard pile, cancels effect. And the enhances commit, add one copy of We Are Comrades from the discard pile to your hand. So here we go, going in for a Scarlet Meteor. Checks a 5, which you needed. And obviously Scarlet Meteor is going to be able to start popping off pretty aggressively here, with basically no real answers on field from Alan to really interact with this as such. So here we go, let's see what happens here. So here we go. So +1 speed for that people that's from Flambert. Yeah, this high attack is +1 or -1, mid, no, that sort of stuff. Obviously Flambert is that awesome one. So here we go. It's mental as well. That was a... I'm not entirely sure what just happened there, guys. Alright, okay. I think... So the game actually just made... Right, okay. So he clicked that, right? And then all of a sudden it made him cycle. That's a wee bit of a glitch. So they're just making him discard what he would have discarded. Reshuffle. Not the end of the world. That's a weird one to have happened. That's the first time I've seen that happening yet. I wonder why that is. That's a weird one. So we can try and avoid that. Maybe. So he's going for the Never a Day Without Training. He obviously has an asset. Well, that's weird. He elected to discard to draw. Yeah, if you got one of more assets, you could have just drew. That was weird. I'm not entirely sure why he did that straight away, but he then pops it. And, oh, I know why he does it, guys. That's alright, I'm being stupid. So, he did it to discard, because he had discarded the Rid in the World of Outsiders. Aye, I see. He didn't want just a cheeky draw. He wanted to set up, because then he popped it, brought in the Rid in the World of Outsiders, goes for the +2/+2 to the next one, and +1/+1 to this one. I see. Solid play. So here we go. Goes in for the block step. Checks a 3. Sadly that is far too low. And he is going to now take that 6 damage down to 14. So here we go. I'm assuming there's another Scarlet or a Forbidden coming. Yeah, there's another Scarlet Meteor coming inbound. So now this is going up to a 7/7. And he is checking a 5. Obviously with +1 from Amy, so it does pass, I believe. So here we go. Gets in our plus. So what's that now? 5, 6, 7, 8, speed 7. The +1 speed obviously from Flambert. He's going to destroy Rid in the World of Outsiders. And let's see what he does now. He destroys Rid in the World Outsiders and just builds it again. That's what he's done there. So here we go. So he gives it +1 damage from the old Amy. And the next thing's going to get +1. Is that what I've done there? Is that what it did there? Yeah. Gains of vitality, +1 damage, yep. So here we go for a Demon Realm Awakening. This is going to give it like 3 damage. I'm saying 3, it might be 4 actually. No, it's 3. Oh my goodness. Let's see what's happening. This is a lot of stuff happening. Demon Realm Awakening. So, commits, +2/+2 to the next attack. So it's going to be hovering on a +2/+3 scenario. So this really comes down to just, this is a rough play for Alan, that he's got cards that just don't, obviously the idea of this, the Maxi, is you get these cards you can add up and do stuff with, but at the end of the day, he might want to, I mean, it's a tough choice, it's a tough call. I mean, do you add one of those Reborn Humans up just to mitigate a damage if you survive it? Oh, it's tough choices. I mean, definitely don't regret being in his boots right now. As, oh, what's that? Oh, let's see, can he block it? I think he can. Yep, does block it, does partial. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16. Yep, goes down to 6, yeah, totally. Hits him with the Breaker 2. So this might be the saving grace. But it does come in with a Voice of Reason. On a 2, 3, 4. And then here comes the Rogue Signet on a 4, 5, 6, 7. On a 6 overall. Checks a 3. I think he can just commit everything out for it. And he passes, which it does. And then Rogue Signet is going to get that +2/+3. Alan at this point on 6 life. Rogue Signet is now 4 mid for shenanigans. Oh, that's rough going. Rough going. Doesn't have the, has a no block. And that is game.